Good morning and welcome to Norcal APEX Accelerator's webinar, presented in partnership with the California DGS Office of Small Business and DVBE Services. Today, you're going to learn how you can contract with the California state government. My name is Amanda Anderson. I'm the program coordinator for Norcal APEX Accelerator, and today I'm joined by a fantastic business outreach liaison, John Gaskell. He has been with the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services for quite some time, and he enjoys partnering and collaborating with strategic partners and businesses just like yours all over the state of California. But before I pass it off to him for the main content of today's presentation, I do want to let you know a little bit about NorCal APEX Accelerator Services and how the APEX Accelerator program can help you with government contracting. So the APEX Accelerator program is a nationwide network of over 96 local centers that are funded by federal, state, and local government grants to offer businesses just like you education and training to help you compete in the government market. We have centers across the US, and I believe that's 7 or 8 just in California alone. And we're all here to offer you resources and support to support your government contracting goals. And all of our resources, all of our trainings, all of our counseling is offered to you at absolutely no cost. So, what exactly do those services look like? What kind of assistance can you receive from an APEX Accelerator Center? Oh, there we go. Well, at NorCal APEX Accelerator, we're able to offer our services to the 15 Northern California counties that you see on your screen. And we offer our services through 3 main pillars of assistance. First, our one-on-one counseling, where once you sign up with us and are accepted as a client, you're able to meet with one of our procurement specialists who has years of experience in government contracting. And you can sit down with them one-on-one to go over anything you need help with. From doing your initial market research to figure out what agencies are buying your products or services, to helping you make sure that your certifications and registrations are all in order. And we can even help you with the compliance paperwork after you win your first bid. That can be really daunting to get through that paperwork and making sure that you're doing it correctly. So your procurement specialist can sit down and go through that with you and help make sure that is all filled out. All your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted, everything is signed the way it should be. Another great benefit of signing up for our one-on-one counseling is our custom bid matching program. Now, what this program allows us to do is you're able to sit down with your procurement specialist and define criteria that makes a good solicitation for your business. So maybe you can only provide services in a certain geographic location. That would be a good criteria for a solicitation. Or maybe you're looking to really break into contracting with an innovative product. That innovative product name could be a good criteria for you. Your procurement specialist can sit down with you and learn about your business and help you define this criteria. And then what they do is they input it into a software that we have, which scrapes federal, state, and local procurement sites for opportunities that are relevant to you. And it emails them directly to you. It's a great way to get opportunities directly to your inbox with just a little upfront work. And finally, our third pillar of assistance is one you're actually taking advantage of right now. We put on a number of virtual and in-person events throughout the year covering topics like today's, contracting with the state government and how the government contracts with businesses, to more introductory topics like certification overviews. Maybe you're looking to figure out which ones you qualify for, to even more complex topics like how to navigate federal contract terminations. We put on a number of trainings and webinars, and We host the recordings of all of our virtual events on our website. In addition to those recordings and that vast webinar library, our website provides access to a ton of resources, links, and helpful worksheets that can support your government contracting goals. So if you have not had a chance to connect with your local Apex Accelerator and you really are looking for that next step, that next support system to get you to where you want to be in government contracting, please do check out our website and sign up for our services if you are within our service area. But if you're not in Northern California, please do not worry. Remember, we are 96 centers strong across the nation. So even if you cannot sign up for our counseling services, there is an Apex Accelerator near you who can offer the same great services, all at absolutely no cost. And with that, I'm very excited to pass it off to John. But before I do, I want to go into a bit of a training disclosure as this event will be recorded. The information provided herein is accurate to the best of the presenter's ability at the time of this presentation in November of 2025. Some or all of the provisions mentioned herein could or may be changed by the current administration, with or without notice. And so with that, I will go ahead and pass it off to John for this fantastic presentation.
Thank you, Amanda, for that introduction. Yes, so today we're going to do contracting with California state government. It's a pretty information-intensive presentation, but I'll go slow. I'm available for questions. And I want to stress that I am available to be contacted, help you out at any time. You can see my contact information on the screen. Just want to stress that it's an open door. Welcome your emails at any time to help you out with the process. A little later on, I'm going to show the slide with the QR code where you can book 30-minute one-on-one sessions with one of our business outreach liaisons. So that's very helpful. I think you'll get the slides afterwards. You can use that as well. Just know that our office is here to help you. This is a process. We don't get all the information to you today. We are always available to answer questions later. So as you can see, my contact information on the screen. Just want to invite all of you to reach out whenever you want. All right. So today we're going to be going in depth into how the state buys so that you know the best approach for your business to take in state contracting. The better you understand these contract opportunities, the more success you could potentially have. So we're going to go over how the state buys, acquisition methods, leverage procurement agreements, solicitation formats. We're going to touch on commercially useful function, and I'm going to share some resources for you guys. Okay, so when the state purchases goods or services, the process is a little different than how individuals and small businesses do it. As individual people, we think about options, make a decision that involves going to a store or purchasing something online or calling the company to buy a service. The process for the state is quite different because the state is expending public funds, and the taxpayer rightfully want to make sure those dollars are spent in a responsible, fair, transparent process for everyone involved. So there are various rules, laws, regulations created to achieve all of that. And what has resulted are distinct, specific processes for purchasing goods and services that we call the procurement process. So there are many different processes for purchasing various goods and service. There are many norms in common procurement processes, and there are many exceptions to those norms. You're going to hear a lot of "it depends" in this process when talking about how procurement works. So we're going to go through the major parts and why they're important. So again, knowing how the state procurement process works can help you be more successful in finding the contract opportunities best suited for your business. And we'll start with why you should sell to the state. So as you can see, state procurement with small businesses continues to grow. Over the last few fiscal years, contract dollars awarded to small businesses have increased nearly 34%, and those to disabled veteran business enterprise firms over 68%. In the most recent year that we have data for, 2023-24, of the 16.32 billion spent on contracts, small businesses were awarded $3.55 billion, and disabled veteran business owners received $625.8 million. So back to the procurement process. There are several parts of the procurement process a buyer must follow. So buyers have to determine, the authority and need, the acquisition method, and the solicitation format. So that is the authority to conduct the procurement, the need of their department or office, the acquisition method, and the solicitation format. These are all parts of the process important for a certified business to know about. So we're going to go through each one and talk about what they are and why they're relevant to you, so you can more easily understand procurement information you see when conducting market research and finding or responding to procurement opportunities. So a department is given purchasing authority by us here at DGS or from another source. A department needs a good or service they do not have or cannot perform, so they turn to the private sector to meet that need through a contract. So the acquisition method and solicitation format are a bit more complicated. So we'll go through each of those, starting with acquisition method. So what does acquisition method mean? Acquisition method identifies how the purchase is to be made and what key activities within the procurement process should be followed. When a buyer goes to purchase something, a good or service, they must decide which acquisition method they're going to use. This is determined by many factors, including what they're purchasing, how much money they're spending, what their purchasing authority is, what contracts already exist, if any, and more. So on the slide now are some common acquisition methods certified businesses are going to encounter. We're going to cover each one in this presentation. Knowing these acquisition methods gives businesses a better insight to how this process works. So let's start with formal, informal, competitive. So the formal, informal, competitive acquisition method is a common competitive acquisition method used to purchase IT goods, IT services, non-IT goods, and non-IT services. It's competitively bid, as the name suggests. It follows the procurement process we talked about, which involves identifying department need, developing solicitation, and that solicitation is typically written. It is typically advertised in the California State Contracts Register, CSCR, which is on Cal eProcure, for at least 10 days. If it's advertised, businesses with a UNSPSC on their registration profile that matches the UNSPSC classification on the solicitation will get notified. And quick note here, if you don't know what a UNSPSC classification is, it is essentially what the state uses to determine a specific good or service, as opposed to, say, a NICS code, which defines business as a whole. These are the specific goods and services you provide. So a state department may be looking for roofing shingles. There is a very specific classification related to roofing shingles that is a UNSPSC classification. Just to give you an idea of what those are, and I keep talking about here. So this method may allow for phone quotes based on dollar thresholds, and it's going to say so in the solicitation. This method includes an evaluation and award process where the buyer evaluates bid responses and makes an award based on evaluation criteria. That evaluation criteria can be low cost or best value, depending on how the solicitation is written. Next is the SB DVBE option, one that we really love at my office. The SB DVBE option acquisition method is another acquisition method exclusive to certified small businesses, including micro businesses and disabled veteran business enterprises. If a business is not certified, they're automatically excluded from this procurement process. So this method is used for relatively small procurements between $5,000 and $250,000, or in the case of public works, up to $461,000. Only certified small businesses and DVBEs are eligible, and it requires 2 quotes from either 2 small businesses or 2 disabled veteran business enterprises. You can't mix and match in this case. It may be awarded to the lowest bidder, and it may be advertised. So we strongly encourage departments to advertise to increase opportunity for more certified businesses to respond. Buyers typically solicit bid responses from certified businesses by email, and this just emphasizes how important it is to have a robust profile for your business in Cal eProcure. And this gives me a second to plug, again, our one-on-one consultations where we can help you build that robust profile to make sure that you're getting as many opportunities as possible and the right opportunities for your business. So please sign up for those. That QR code will be coming a little later. Next up, fair and reasonable. So the fair and reasonable acquisition method is the simplest and most straightforward acquisition method for very small contracts, under $10,000. The buyer need only get one bid that they determine to be fair and reasonable in order to award the contract. So while it's possible, buyers may solicit bids from multiple businesses and receive and review multiple bids, only one is required, so long as it is fair and reasonable. The buyer can use a variety of methods to make this fair and reasonable determination, which include price comparison, catalog or market pricing, controlled pricing, historical pricing, or a cost-benefit analysis. What's most important for the business to know for this acquisition method is that they need to be responsive when the buyer reaches out. If your business is slow in responding to the buyer, another business may have already submitted their bid, and the buyer may award the contract to that other business. Again, this emphasizes the importance of having a robust profile on Cal eProcure with the correct UNSPSC classifications and keywords so the buyer can find your business. Another method is emergency contracting. And this is one that all certified businesses should know about because in California, we're familiar with emergencies. We have fires, floods, earthquakes, public health emergencies. They can also include something less widespread, but still urgent and concerning, like if a water pipe breaks in a state hospital. So this is in a situation where the state sort of relaxes some of the procurement rules because the state has to respond immediately. The solicitation in this case is not competitive because it's not realistic in the example of like the forest fire or that water pipe breaking in a hospital for the state to be spending weeks writing up, releasing a competitive solicitation, receiving bids, evaluating those bids, and then making an award. The state has to act immediately in those situations. So the state also purchases lots of different goods and services in the event of an emergency, things that businesses might not always even think of. So to support the inclusion of certified businesses in these contract opportunities, our office created the SB DVBE Emergency Registry. So this is separate from Cali Procure, and it's used by state buyers to find certified businesses that are ready, willing, and most importantly, able to support the state in the event of an emergency. So buyers look for businesses when an emergency strikes, and beforehand, only certified businesses can register in the emergency registry. When businesses register, instead of using keywords and UNSPSCs to determine what they sell, they instead select from a predetermined list of goods and services. So this simplifies things for businesses and for buyers and builds confidence that the businesses that do sign up are a good fit for emergency contracts. So if your business is ready, willing, and again, most importantly, able to support the state in an emergency, sign up in the registry. If not, just wait until you are. It's important that buyers can, in an emergency, quickly and confidently find businesses that can come through for them. So here's a list of some of those emergency registry categories. Some of these make sense, are intuitive. Some of the categories might not seem immediately related to emergency contracting, but are very crucial to emergency response. So check out those categories when you have a chance. So to sign up in the small business DVBE emergency registry, you're going to need your certification number, very important. At least one of those emergency categories, a very specific description of the products and services you can provide, and crucially, your business address and your contact information, both your normal primary contact information and crucially, your emergency after hours contact information, because emergencies don't wait for convenient times. If you're on the registry, you could be contacted anytime, day or night. Just be prepared for them. All right, now getting into leverage procurement agreements. So a leverage procurement agreement, or LPA, is an agreement between the state and one or more businesses to sell specific goods or services to the state for agreed upon pricing, requirements, and terms and conditions. So departments can purchase those goods or services as needed. So DGS establishes these agreements, and other states' instructions of an LPA determine who is allowed to use the LPA. Departments use these agreements when purchasing, all while adhering to applicable policies, procedures, and user instructions. LPAs may also be available to local entities like counties, cities, special districts, education systems, and other government entities. It varies from one LPA to the next. So these agreements are awarded for $0 because they only set up the framework that allows a business to sell their products or services to the state and for the state to purchase those goods or services as needed. When the LPA is set up, the state can project a dollar amount that they expect to be spent through the LPA over the length of the agreement, giving the businesses an idea of how much money they can expect to make. So LPAs enable streamlined purchases by removing repetitive, resource-intensive, costly, and time-consuming solicitation processes by departments. And they last multiple years. So these on the screen now are some of the types of LPAs that DGS creates, ones we think are important for certified businesses to know about. We'll go through each one, talk about what they are, how they work, and what a business needs to get one of these agreements. Start off with master agreements. So master agreements are contracts that are competitively bid when established. They're advertised in the California State Contracts Registry, CSCR, and businesses will learn about these opportunities in the same way as other publicly competitive solicitations. Notifications from Cali Procure and appearing in supplier searches conducted by buyers through keywords and UNSPSCs. So master agreements may be awarded to multiple businesses. It depends on the contract and whether multiple awards is appropriate. If there are multiple awards, that will be made clear in the solicitation. When one or more businesses are awarded the agreement, state departments and potentially other entities can use that agreement to purchase from any of those businesses as needed. The process of purchasing may require offers. In the case of a contract awarded to multiple businesses, the buyer would get offers from those businesses as opposed to just selecting one of the businesses and making a purchase. This process of soliciting offers adds a measure of competition among the businesses that were awarded the LPA. So these LPAs are available to any agency that spends public funds. If making an offer is required, departments must solicit offers from a minimum of 3 suppliers, including 1 small business and or DBBE when available. So there are a few examples of what can be purchased through current master agreements held by certified businesses. You can see those on the screen right now. Got on-site confidential destruction services, PPE waste removal services, technology, digital, and data consulting services, temporary medical staffing services, transit processor services, and unarmed guard security services. Next up, we have statewide contracts. Now, these are another type of LPA. They are competitively bid and for commonly purchased goods. They're often done as single awards, although there are some multiple awards. They're usually established as mandatory for state departments to use. That means if departments want to purchase a good that is on a mandatory statewide contract, they're required to purchase through that statewide contract. So generally, there is also a SB DVBE off-ramp option. So an SB DVBE off-ramp is where departments will be permitted to purchase equivalent products at the same or lower price from certified small businesses for disabled veteran business enterprises, even if that certified business does not have the statewide contract, so long as the business meets the requirements of that statewide contract. So to determine whether a particular statewide contract has an SB DVBE off-ramp, consult the statewide contract details and user instructions. Statewide contracts may also include ancillary services such as installation, maintenance, imaging, or closely related professional services. So here are a few examples of goods purchased through these statewide contracts currently held by certified businesses. You can see a lot of the things the state buys in bulk. You've got asphalt, food items like rice, flour, grains, herbicides and pests and insecticides, rainwear, roadway signs, tires, traffic cones. These are all goods that can be bought on statewide contracts. All right. Next is the Software Licensing Program, or SLP. Here at DGS, we negotiate agreements with software publishers for the purchase of various software. These agreements are negotiated with the software publisher, not competitively bid. This is different than all the other acquisition methods and LPAs that we have discussed so far. Since they're negotiated, there's no solicitation for businesses to respond to, and nothing is advertised on the CSCR. This is a very different process. Additionally, publishers do not sell directly to the state. Instead, they'll use resellers, which they and they alone authorize. So they use whatever process and methods they choose to determine who those resellers are. Publishers can authorize between 3 and 6 resellers. The state does not play any role in the selection of those resellers. If a certified business wants to become a reseller for a software publisher that has an SLP agreement, that business needs to work with the publisher directly. Publishers can change resellers throughout the life of the agreement, up to twice a year. So when state entities use the software licensing program agreement to purchase software from resellers, they must get offers from 3 businesses, making the act of purchasing software competitive among the available resellers. However, if only one business of the 3 responds, the buyer can still move forward with the purchase, though they have to justify it. So if there are any software publishers that want to get their own SLP agreement, they can contact the software licensing program here at DGS at the email and phone number listed on the screen now. So here's some examples of what's purchased through SLP agreements. Businesses have SLP agreements as resellers selling various kinds of software to fill various business needs, such as software from Adobe, IBM, DocuSign, Cisco, and more. These are not available through SLPs. So standalone hardware, consulting, or telecommunications, those are not available through the software licensing program. Okay, next up, cooperative agreements. So cooperative agreements establish cooperative multi-state contracts where participating states may join together to achieve cost-effective and efficient acquisitions of products and services. Cooperative agreements are established from master agreements competitively bid by another entity, like another state or group of states working together. So cooperative agreements are established from competitively bid master agreements. They're also advertised in the CSCR. So businesses can see it on CaliProcure, get notified for it on CaliProcure, and respond to it as though they were any competitive solicitation. So when a cooperative agreement is established by a state other than California, it may still be advertised on the CSCR. However, the advertisement is simply to direct the business to the procurement system of the other state. And the businesses must follow all the procurement processes of that state. Another way for businesses to become part of a cooperative agreement is as a reseller. Cooperative agreements may require offers, which means that a buyer, when using the agreement to purchase a good or service, must solicit offers from multiple businesses that hold the agreement or authorized resellers. This process then becomes competitive among those being solicited. Some agreements do not require offers, which means the buyer can simply purchase at will. So when executing orders using the cooperative agreement program, departments are not required to obtain 3 offers or document best value, but conducting price comparison among the cooperative agreement suppliers, if available, is encouraged. So here are a few examples of what can be purchased through current cooperative agreements held by certified businesses. All right, now on to California Multiple Award Schedule. So the California Multiple Award Schedules are another type of leverage procurement agreement available to state agencies and local governments to procure various goods and services. So as the name suggests, getting a CMAS does not involve competitive bidding or negotiation. Instead, it requires a business to apply for the schedule. So the schedule itself is a list of goods and services. There are many schedules, and they are created and maintained by the federal government. California mirrors the federal program to create the California Multiple Awards Schedule. So a schedule also contains pre-established pricing and terms and conditions. To become a holder of a schedule, a business must apply. So a business does not have to sell everything listed on a schedule in order to get it. It just needs to sell something on the schedule and meet the requirements of the schedule. Because this is an application process, multiple businesses can and do hold the same schedule. The result is a pool of suppliers the state can solicit offers from. This creates competition among the pool of schedule holders when the state or another entities goes to procure a good or service through CMAS. That means business should still treat this like a competitive environment where marketing one's business is important. Pricing can also be key. So CMAS sets the maximum pricing, but businesses can still offer lower rates, which may be advantageous in that competition. So the CMAS program differs from competitive bid process in that CMAS creates a pool of suppliers an agency can solicit from up to $500,000 per order. The use of CMAS is optional and available to state and local government agencies. And here are some examples of what can be purchased through CMAS schedules currently held by certified businesses. And these are not included in CMAS. So here are the steps to apply for a CMAS. Go to the CMAS portal, create an account, click New Company Registration Only, and then click Apply for New CMAS. And if you have questions or want to get in contact with the CMAS team, reach out to me, and I can be that point of contact, that liaison for you. The information you're going to want to have ready, the schedule you want, your business name, your fiscal, vendor ID, contact information, California Secretary of State registration, certification information, your contractor's license if it's applicable, your seller's permit if it's applicable, and customer references if applicable. So how do we get there? I hope you guys are familiar with Cal eProcure. If you proceed with state contracting, you will become familiar with Cal eProcure, but this is what it looks like. To get there, you would go to Cal eProcure, click Sell to the State. Click the link at the bottom to search the currently available and established leverage procurement agreements. Similar to the search for solicitations in the California State Contracts Register, this search is of existing leverage procurement agreements. There are various criteria you can search by, which you will see when you conduct your search. And again, if you schedule with us, we can help you out with this search. So now that we've finished talking about acquisition methods, we can talk about solicitation formats. These are some of the common solicitation formats certified businesses can expect to encounter. The format of a solicitation is influenced by the acquisition type and acquisition method, which we've talked about, and the dollar amount, the complexity of the procurement, and risk factors. So the solicitation format also contributes to how the procurement will be conducted and what the buyer expects of the business in submitting the bid. Knowing the solicitation format can help a business understand these parts of the procurement, assess how fit their company is to fulfill the solicitation, and be successful in responding to the solicitation. So we're going to go through each one by one here. First, you have the request for quotation, RFQ. So this is the most common written solicitation format used to conduct informal competitive acquisitions. RFQ is a straightforward procurement format that identifies what is needed or requests a proposed solution and tends to be low in risk and complexity. Now, invitation for bid is a written solicitation document used to solicit bid responses for non-IT goods or services, where suppliers are asked to provide a bid to the state's known and detailed clear requirements. An IFB is also used to obtain simple, common, or routine non-IT services that may require personal or mechanical skills where little discretion is used in performing the work, such as routine pest control, equipment maintenance, uniform rentals. An IFB can also be used for public works projects. So the requesting agency knows exactly what they want. They just need those bids. For an IFB, the state provides a complete statement of work describing everything the state needs the business to accomplish, including all the work, supplies, personnel, and timeframes. An IFB is typically awarded by low cost. However, there are exceptions. RFPs, requests for proposals, are used to obtain complex services in which professional expertise is needed and may vary, where different methods and approaches may be applied during performance. So an example would be professional services such as auditing and specialized data collection. So there are two approaches here. Primary RFP, the performance requires varying methods or approaches, but not innovation or creativity. The methods and approaches used may not differ significantly from one proposal to another, which allows cost to be used as the deciding factor for making the award. Statement of work is fairly well defined in terms of services or functions that must be performed, as are the timeframes required. Cost proposals are submitted in a separate sealed envelope apart from the narrative proposal. The narrative proposals are reviewed, evaluated, and scored for compliance with format, content, and qualification requirements. Cost proposals are not scored. Qualified proposals are responsive to the RFP requirements, and they'll have cost price proposals publicly open and read. In the case of secondary, this is to obtain very complex or unique services in which professional expertise and methods may vary greatly. These are creative or innovative approaches are needed. For example, public relations and advertising, complex research projects, things like that. So the award is to the responsible proposal, earning the highest overall score in the process. So the performance of these requires unusual, innovative, or creative techniques, methods, and approaches. Quality of the expertise and approaches, methods, and innovation used may differ significantly from one proposer to another. So the statement of work in this is going to be less precisely defined and may contain only the agency's business needs, goals, or objectives that have to be met. Price may appear as a section within the narrative proposal, and it must be a significant factor. Price does not mean cost effectiveness. Now on to request for offer. So this is done when purchasing against an LPA. A RFO is a document sent to LPA contractors, which contains requirements for a specific transaction and requests a specific response or offer. The individual user instructions of the LPA indicate whether additional offers are required. For example, a consultant with a CMAS gets an RFO to provide IT consulting services. The business responds, as do the other CMAS holders, and the buyer evaluates the responses and awards the contract. For LPA transactions greater than $5,000, the department develops the request for offer with the state's current terms and conditions attached to be agreed upon by the supplier when they submit their bid or quote. The RFO must request the supplier provide retail price along with the offer. All right. So let's talk about contract readiness. These are some things you should consider to determine if you're ready for a contract. Do you meet the requirement? Before you do a lot of work to submit a bid for a solicitation or try to get an LPA, make sure you meet all of the requirements. I'd hate for you to waste your time on something you ultimately can't do. Another consideration, do you have the financial capacity? The state often pays after you complete the work, not before, and it can take up to 45 days to make that payment. So you need to make sure that you have the financial capacity to complete the contract before you agree to it. Finally, can you deliver? This is really asking about your capacity to completely fulfill the contract. So you need to assess if you can do that or if the contract is just too large for your business to handle right now. Also, Consider eligibility and evaluation criteria. Thinking about past performance, required experience and skills, and the capability of your business. Are you eligible? Some quick tips to make you successful. Do not let your certification lapse. You can lose out on opportunities, so you're going to want to keep that up to date and renew it as needed. Keep your profile information current. Make sure you hold any and all certifications and licenses you need to perform the work. And make sure you have the needed insurance. Depending on the type of work you do, you may need to have insurance. Generally, insurance is required when performing services for the state, but not for goods or products. So here are the common mistakes we see. This is not exhaustive, but this is what comes up a lot during the state contracting process. You can see all of the mistakes that commonly come up here. So some tips. If you have questions, ask them early. That's probably good advice just for life. Don't wait until the end to ask those questions. Always read the solicitation documents and make sure you understand them. As much as we want to help you, at the end of the day, you need to be able to read the solicitation and understand what it says and what's needed of you. So if you secure a state contract, good work. It also means you are legally bound to deliver. If you don't, that's not good for your business. Failing on a state contract will hurt your reputation and could make it difficult to get other contracts. We mentioned this before, but many jobs do not pay till the work is done, have up to 45 days after receiving an undisputed invoice to do so. Think about how your business is going to stay financed during that time. Okay, now we'll touch on commercially useful function. So this and the next slide cover commercially useful function. This applies to all small business and DVDEs bidding and participating in the contract. So you perform commercially useful function if you're executing a distinct element of the work, performing, managing, or supervising the work, performing work normal for the firm's business services and functions, if you're negotiating price, determining quality and quantity, ordering, installing, and making payment, and if you're not subcontracting a portion of the work greater than expected by industry practices. Conversely, if you are not performing CUF, if your business is being used as a pass-through to obtain the appearance of small business D2B participation, you're not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the solicitation, and if you're no longer used to provide the goods or services listed in that initial bid response. Now I'd like to share some resources for you to reach out to. Of course, small business development centers for you new businesses. They offer business consulting, planning, marketing, and access to capital. APEX accelerators for established businesses. They can help with government contracting at all levels. SCORE for those newer businesses. They can provide that crucial business mentorship. So a review. We went over a lot. We touched on how the state buys, acquisition methods, leverage procurement agreements, solicitation formats, commercially useful function, and some resources for you. Here, I just want to stress, this is the beginning of the conversation with the state. If you want, you can reach out to me. We can set up those one-on-one consultations. If you have any questions, we can continue this conversation whenever you want. And of course, stay connected with us on LinkedIn. And crucially here, and I'll leave it up for that reason, schedule a consultation with us. We do introduction to state contracting. We can go to Cal Pre-Epicure registration and certification, update your profile, help you find those contract opportunities, do the market research, see which state departments are buying what you're selling. We can help you through all those steps. So please take advantage of this resource. It is a 30-minute Microsoft Teams one-on-one discussion with a business liaison like me, and it is entirely free, and you can schedule whatever time works for you. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here. Also going to leave this up if you want to like snap a quick photo. I think the slides will be coming later, but again, I stress reach out whenever you like. Our office is always available to help. It's our job. We love doing it. So please feel free to reach out. All right. And back to you, Amanda.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John. And yeah, the biggest thing, that was a ton of information.
So
I just
much.
want to say it was presented really well. Like, at least I was following it very well. And it's so much good detail about, yeah, I want a contract with the state, but like, what contract? How am I going to get my foot in the door? Like, which ones can I do viably and which ones are just out of my reach as of now? So thank you so much for putting that together. And before we go into our upcoming events, I did see quite a few questions about other topics related to California contracting, like how to get certified, how to polish up your Cal e-Procure file. And while that is not the focus of today's topic, we did do a series. This is the third part of that series called California Contracting 101. And so I'm going to drop the links to our previously recorded sessions. The first session covers everything you need to know to get certified as a small business or as a DVBE with the state. And so that is in chat right now. So you have full access to that recording as well as the slide deck. And then the second session actually focused on how to polish up your Cal eProcure profile and find opportunities once you are certified. And that is now also in chat for you to explore on your own and really get that full, well-rounded information so you can confidently start contracting with the state. So, in the spirit of other upcoming events, I do have a handful of events that are just right on the cusp of being posted, including an exciting in-person event with DGS in February. DGS is going to be joining us in Humboldt County in February. So please do keep an eye on our calendar for that if you are interested in joining us. But for the end of the year, we do have one more event for the Apex Accelerator calendar. We're covering federal contracting certifications for small businesses on December 10th. And while you may not be quite ready to jump into federal contracting, that is an entirely separate beast from California contracting. I think it's always good to know what opportunities are out there for when you are able to grow and expand. And certifications, as we know at the state level, are extremely beneficial, and the same can go for the federal level as well. But if you are not quite interested in federal contracting, just looking to polish up maybe some procurement skills in general, our clients at Norcal APEX Accelerators get access to Govology, which is a fantastic service that offers live and on-demand courses for every level of government contracting. And the best part is if you are a client with us, you get access to all of these webinars, which typically costs about $75, maybe a little bit more if it's a cohort session. But our clients get access to these webinars at absolutely no cost. We have a code that we are able to provide to our clients only, and we're able to get them those resources and that training, even when we may not be putting on the events ourselves. So if you're looking to maybe do some learning over the holiday break, sign up for services and take advantage of this Govology offering. And one final note just before we go into the questions, and we do have a number of questions, but I would like to drop our event feedback survey into the chat. And this is something I do at the end of all of our sessions because these events truly are to benefit you and your business goals. So if we could be doing better, this is your chance to let us know. If you want to see maybe a different format, maybe something more interactive, maybe small breakout groups is something you're interested in seeing for this kind of thing. This is the place to let us know. On the flip side, if you think that this presentation was well put together and really just took you through the basics of what you needed to know to really go and explore all of this on your own, we would love to get that positive feedback as well. I know that I love to hear it, and I know our guest speakers always love to hear that as well. So if you have a moment, it is a very brief survey, and it can be answered anonymously. We really do value your feedback on these events. So if we could be doing better, please let us know. And let us know if we're already doing great and you want to see more like it. And with that, let's go ahead and go on to the questions. Please do remember, I will be starting with the questions that are entered into the Q&A section of Zoom. And we've been having quite a few questions throughout the presentation. I am going to try and organize them the way the presentation was. So I'll try to group the questions that seem to be related together so that we can kind of get a full picture answer almost. So someone was wondering, does the state of California purchase coffee products? Is that something that your offices or your agencies readily purchase?
Um, yeah, we have a pat answer for this in that the state purchases virtually everything from, pencils to helicopters. I know that the state does purchase coffee. You think the state has a lot of institutions. Just if you think of corrections, they manage essentially mini cities. Um, so coffee is definitely something that the state purchases.
Absolutely. And just for my knowledge, would that be purchased through a contract or through like at least our program has what's called a pro card, like a company card rather than a contract?
Sometimes they purchase with key card. Um, and actually, this might be an LPA for coffee as well.
That's perfect.
Might
And I'm
be, yeah.
sure sitting down with a meeting for you or one of your teammates to kind of discuss that could get more finite into those details.
We could search for who is buying coffee, how they're buying it. We could show you how to do those searches. We could show you all the different ways to define selling coffee in the state. There might be multiple classifications that your business should include on your profile. So yeah, all these things we could explore in a one-on-one.
Absolutely. And then someone was also wondering where they can find the non-advertised small business options.
Mhm. Yeah, that's again something that we can explore in a one-on-one. Show you that how to find those ones that aren't really apparent on how you procure.
Absolutely.
Different approaches.
And I believe this question, just to give a little bit of frame reference, I believe this question came in when you were talking about RFPs. And someone is wondering what exactly is considered low cost when it comes to RFPs.
So in that context, might have been talking about the lowest cost bid. But yeah, it's not that simple. There are multiple ways to look at it, even to define low cost, considering all these different approaches.
Yeah. So that might be something that our Apex Accelerator counselors can get
Yeah.
into with you, or possibly something that you can do in that one-on-one is describing and
Mhm.
figuring out for that specific agency what would be their low cost criteria. Awesome. And then I'm just reading through a few of them, especially a few that just came in. Madeline, and these are always questions we get. And I think because we do have the time, I do want to bounce these questions to you. But typically, asking what services and products can be nebulous. It can be very tricky to answer because, like John said, They purchase almost everything, but this is quite a unique one. Madeline's wondering if fitness and nutrition services is something that a state agency would purchase.
So I could see where they could. So each state agency has different programs within them. They might want consultation on nutrition services for a program for like a local community or something. So again, yeah, the state really does purchase just about everything outside of, luxury goods, generally not alcohol or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm So
perfect. And
yes, and I have seen it and I've explored it in a one-on-one, some opportunities and some past awarded contracts for that. We would have to get into like the specifics of your business and what you visualize selling to the state, how you visualize doing it. But yeah, there are opportunities like that.
yeah, and that actually made me think of in our in-house developed introduction to government contracting, we usually start with a list of everything that Pelican Bay State Prison purchases.
That's a really
Because
good
you were
idea.
talking about the cities, how like some agencies manage cities, and like the state prisons and sometimes the jails can be operated in a similar sense to the cities, and they would need someone to bring in the food to the prison. They would need someone there to cook and manage the products in that prison. And I bet you, hopefully, I don't know too much about it, but I bet you there is a fitness program to keep them
Mhm.
healthy and that kind of thing. So that could be your way in.
Consideration of nutrition.
Hmm.
hmm
And then Rincy was wondering, and this is about IT. I know IT can be kind of hit or miss. It's sometimes something like you know about, and sometimes it's just like a whole different department that handles it. But Rincy was wondering if California State manages IT and temporary staffing services through state procurement systems, like we talked about today, or through what they call a managed service provider.
Mm. That would be like a third party.
It sounds like
Uh,
it, yeah.
yeah, I imagine. So for staffing and IT staffing, there might be specific contracts for that. But also, I believe that is contracted out, because each agency is doing it differently. So again, sorry, if you were to email me, I could get you a definitive answer on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that John can help you with. One of our counselors can sit down and do that market research with you. We have access to a few market research tools that our program actually pays for and is able to use with our clients for absolutely no cost. So that is another good way to really push yourself to get connected with the services that are out there for you because they
Yeah.
can definitely benefit you with this kind of market research.
And one of the sessions we offer, we walk you through that market research using our skippers, which is all the past awarded contracts going back to 2015. So we can go through that and teach you how to do that critical market research. See not only the departments that are buying, but how they're doing it, which methods they're using, which
Yeah.
procurement.
All right. Um, let's see. Oh, this is an interesting question. Are state agencies obliged to publish the bidder's ranking scores after a successful bid has been selected?
That would be public, so you can reach out to the contract manager, whoever's managing the bid process, and within the procurement officers, try to get that information afterwards.
Yeah, and I believe I'm not sure if it's just in the federal base, but it is required that they
hmm
be available to do a debrief on that. So that's where you can get a lot of good feedback and information about why
hmm
your bid wasn't selected. And if it was, I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and their standardized process for doing it, and how they evaluate.
Hmm. And please do remember I'm going through the questions in the Q&A first and foremost. Just as a quick reminder, Delisa was wondering about CMAS, and it sounds like they have had a GSA schedule and they used to list all of the services they provide. For example, if they provide coaching services and leadership development, could they just have a CMAS schedule for coaching services alone? Or would they need to
One, I
include everything that their business can do?
believe it's just one of the things, one of the listed items on the CMAS. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, good clarification too.
Hmm.
While CMAS is modeled after a GSA schedule, they do not intermix in any way, shape, or form. The state procurement and federal procurement are completely separate markets, completely separate entities. So if you're looking for help with either a CMAS or GSA schedule, I'd recommend you reach out to Apex Accelerator as we can help with both. If you're looking to get onto a CMAS schedule, though, John definitely has some good insights for that.
Yes, and access to the CMAS team, which is invaluable.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And then Nicole had a question about payments. If the project timeline is about a year long, will the state not pay anything until all the work is completed at that 1 year mark? Or do they offer monthly or quarterly invoicing for that kind of situation?
Um, um, so here, could you email me that question and I can get
Yeah,
the specific answer for you? Because there are multiple ways that could be done. And it sounds like you might have a specific scenario that you're thinking about. So please reach out to me and I will get the absolute correct answer for you on that.
absolutely. And that's the biggest thing as presenters with this information. We're always trying to provide
Mm.
the information you're looking for, but making sure that it is accurate and
Yes.
correct. So that's the fine line we dance. All right. Let's see. We did get a few other questions. A lot of them are asking for speaker contact information, so I'm actually going to move the slide back to
Yeah.
that. Just while we're going through this. There is the QR code. I will leave it up just for a little bit,
Mhm.
and then I will forward back to John's direct contact info as well, so you can get that down.
Please schedule a consultation. They're very fun. We can share a screen. We can go through your profile in real time. So encourage you to do so.
And I will note, I feel like I've worked with so many different representatives from your team, and that has been the sentiment across the board. I feel like everybody on your team, specifically the small business outreach liaisons, they really do love the connection piece. And it's good to hear that that is true.
Yeah, it really is rewarding in real time, and it's so nice to. Sometimes in government you get a little bit, removed from people and regular contact. This is so great because you can have a on one, even though it's virtual, connection with somebody. So love
Yeah,
doing it.
absolutely. And I'm just cleaning up some of these comments. A lot of them were asking for this QR code. I am going to go to his contact info very shortly. I would like to get another question in. Let's see, let's see. So a lot of these questions are for our program directly, so I'm not going to bounce those to you. Let's go ahead and go into, yeah, so this may be something you're familiar with, but it's definitely something that an Apex Accelerator counselor or possibly a small business outreach liaison can help you find out. But Rinsey was wondering if you know when the current IT staffing contract ends. And I feel like that would kind of depend on what agency you're looking
Mm,
at.
okay. So if it's kind of like a CMS or a scheduled thing, it is possible we can get that answer for you for when it ends and when it will be advertised. get on it.
Yeah.
So
And that's definitely something
reach out on
that,
that one as well.
yeah,
And I can get
definitely
with yeah.
more specific.
Mhm.
Perfect. And it looks like the rest of the questions in the Q&A I will answer via text because a lot of them are looking for our services in particular. But I do see a couple of questions in chat as well. Okay, it looks like we already answered that one. Oh, this is a good question. Sam was wondering, do the goods on a contract, so if a business is selling a good to an agency, does that good have to be manufactured in the USA? Are there any regulations that you're familiar with about foreign procured items, I guess would be a way to say it?
No, the state is just interested in acquiring those goods. There are specifications on, being in California business for some of our certifications and things, and there might be some specifications on individual contracts, but um, specifying things have to be manufactured in California is generally not.
Yeah. And then Delisa provided a little bit of clarification. She was asking about GSA schedules, but this is not the topic that we are discussing today. So if you are looking for help with your GSA schedule, Delisa, please do sign up for our services. We have a number of federally specialized procurement specialists who can help you. Um, and then who would I recommend you contact for the CMAS team? I hope I would recommend you contact John and he can help get you
Good.
into that place where you can start connecting with that team and really start moving that process forward.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And as a note, I did just forward to John's contact information, so you do all have that as well. And a friendly reminder that you will be provided not only the slide deck with all of this contact information, all of the links active and clickable, but the recording of this event as well, all within 1 week of today's event. We did get just one more question into the Q&A. Let me go ahead. Oh, this is an interesting one. For opportunities that have multiple line items, so say you're doing quite a few different things, I can think of construction in particular,
Mm.
um, where items come from different brands, is it necessary to deliver all of those line items to the agency at once, or can it be kind of a rolling delivery as the business gets those products?
That would be specified in the individual bid event and questions probably for whoever is managing that bid. Because,
And
in the same way that the state buys everything, no two acquisitions are entirely the same.
yeah. Okay, just trying to answer some of these other
Mhm.
questions in chat. Um, it sounds like a couple of folks in the audience have attended our webinars frequently and are hoping to get access to the Gavology code. Unfortunately, because of the contract that we have with Gavology, we can only offer our code to counseling clients, not webinar clients. Um, but I do know a number of other Apex accelerators also offer these Gavology courses. And I do know that not all of the Gavology courses cost money. So that may be an option. There are also a number of other online training courses through many other retailers that I've seen. We work specifically with Gavology, but there are resources out there, including our webinar library that is absolutely free to anyone and everyone. So I do apologize, Ray. I can't get you that code unless you are a client of ours, a counseling client. But I do hope you're able to utilize our webinar library and the others that are out there to help really boost your knowledge of this. All right, and it looks like one other question came in. So, are awarded bids available to be viewed by other bidders to better understand why their bid was potentially not chosen? We've gotten a few questions kind of dancing around this, and I'd love to have you talk
And
a little bit about skippers if you could.
oh yes, so Skippers is the database for past procurement opportunities where you can find a lot of this who it's awarded to, the amount, specifics about past awarded contracts. Also encourage you to always reach out to the procurement officer in charge of that specific solicitation opportunity.
Fantastic. And I do believe I want to give everybody just one more minute. We do still
Yeah.
have about 10 minutes of our time. If you have any other questions relating to the presentation, please do enter those into the Q&A section. Um, and everybody should have your contact info now as well. So we are wrapping it up, and I'm just typing in a few other answers for those kind of off-topic adjacent questions that we have.
You've been answering questions this whole time, just
Yeah.
typing. You're so good.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
It looks like Ray had another question. Um, and this was also about services. They were wondering if they can be a client of ours, even if we're in a different area code. So different area code is kind of vague because we do service 15 Northern California counties. So if you are outside of that service area, unfortunately, we would not be able to take you on as a counseling client. But you are absolutely always welcome to attend our events, whether they're virtual or in person. We do not ask for any kind of location data for registration. And you're always welcome to check out our website, which you can get the recordings for all of our events from as well. Oh, and I love this. This is going to be the last question because I love this is going to be perfect to end on.
Mhm.
Justin was just asking, as a small business, what would be the typical timeline they could expect to become certified with the state?
Mm. Love that one too. Okay. So our small business certification, we pride ourselves on it being pretty easy. If you have the materials needed, some tax information, essentially what we're trying to confirm is that your business is not, above the thresholds for revenue or employees. If you have that tax information that you could enter into add to the website and everything, it can be done in about 15 minutes, and you're certified essentially until you're not, until maybe something is caught on the back end that has to be clarified or something. But that small business certification can be procured pretty quickly. The disabled veteran business enterprise, that could take a little longer because there's the element of confirming service related disability, but doesn't take too long. So you can get them pretty quick.
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of the advice I hear through these webinars and through my time with our team of procurement specialists is preparation before you go into doing the certification application can make it such a smoother process.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And if you want to go through that process with somebody from our office, that is one of the options you could select in the one-on-one consultation. You can do it with a member of the certification team. Answer all your questions in real time.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that, I will put one final plug for our Apex Accelerator services. If you are interested in that one-on-one counseling, please do sign up. We offer our services at absolutely no cost. And as you have gotten today, you also have another resource in John as well as his team, and you have all of the contact information and that QR code. But if you did not have a chance to take a picture of those, remember you will be getting these slides as well as the recording of this event within 1 week of today's presentation. And with that, I would like to thank you all so much for joining us. As you exit the webinar, you will be redirected to that feedback survey I mentioned earlier. As always, your feedback on our training events is invaluable to our program and really does inform how we continue building out our event calendar. So if you want to see more events like this, please do let us know. And if you have another idea for a good event you think you would benefit from, please do let us know. We'd love to hear your ideas. With that, I would like to thank John one last time for this fantastic presentation. It was an absolute pleasure presenting with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. This was a blast.
Yeah. And of course, thank you all so much for joining us.
Mhm.
It is always fun to see everybody in chat and get into these businesses and these questions. So thank you all for being here today. And with that, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your Thursday.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Have a good day, everybody. Bye, John.
Bye.